On the Health Watch tonight, about 35,000 people in the U.S. are living with ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. Now, there's no cure for this neurodegenerative disease, and tonight, CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. Jon Lapook sat down with a patient in Seattle who's receiving an experimental treatment with the hope of a different outcome than his relatives.
Jeff Veerstra isn't afraid to ski down an iceberg off the coast of Chile or skydive over British Columbia. What does frighten him is his family history.
My mom died of ALS, and all of her siblings did.
And how old were they?
They were in their late 30s and early 40s.
ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is a progressive disease that causes the nerves controlling muscles to deteriorate. Over time, a patient loses the ability to walk, talk, and eventually to breathe. Veerstra and his sisters all tested positive for a genetic mutation that made it likely they would develop ALS.
Living with that sort of like cloud over you is like mentally and emotionally like really difficult.
Both his sisters developed symptoms. They took part in a clinical trial at Columbia University for an experimental treatment targeting the mutated gene. Neil Schneider, the doctor leading the trial, also examined Veerstra.
We did it. Electrical testing and EMG, and there were abnormalities on the EMG. We thought this meant that this was an early sign of disease onset and that he was at risk for developing full-blown disease.
Dr. Schneider offered Veerstra the same experimental treatment given to his sisters in what would become the first known attempt to prevent ALS.
I jumped at the opportunity to do that.
You're thinking, let's be proactive.
Yes.
Every few months for the past 3 years, Veerstra has been receiving infusions in his spine that target and disable the mutated gene. Both of Veerstra's sisters eventually developed complications of ALS and died.
I think for them, like, it actually extended their life.
As for the previous mild abnormalities seen on muscle testing,
we repeated that study a year after the abnormality, and it had normalized.
Now 41, Veerstra has not developed ALS, outliving many of his family members.
How big of a deal is this?
Oh, I think it's a very big deal. And I think there's real hope and opportunity to make this at least a livable disease, one that isn't fatal.
He continues to work as a scientist as well as ski, hike, and travel the world.
What are you thinking?
Well, I feel like I'm getting another lease on life, and maybe this actually is working for me.
Dr. Jon Lapook, CBS News, New York.
Here's to hoping they're one step closer to a cure.
Yeah, imagine how that family history just weighs on him all the time, right?
Absolutely.